everybody. Welcome to Comics Covered, the show where Matt and I, the founders of CoverPrice.com, get together once a week with you lovely people and chat about comic books. We use our website, CoverPrice.com, which is a collection management system, price guide, content for comic books, all that fun stuff. And we collect a bunch of data and kind of talk about what's happening. So, Matt, what is happening? You're muted. Always the false start.
It's always you.
Oh, changing it up for 2025. I like
That's
it.
Right. Now it's my turn. What's up, y'all? Matt is happy. That's right. Hey, JD, good to see everyone. I think this is our first show for the new year, other than our 1 year reflective last week, which was a lot of fun to do. It was a long show. But actually, we got through it pretty relatively quickly. I think it was only 2 hours, which is not bad. It said that's nice. My favorite app is a newbie comic seller collector. It's helpful with raw values. Only 64 years. So well said.
Thank you. we need more marketing.
Let's just leave this up for the whole show. Yeah, and if you guys do, here's my personal request: if you guys show up here every week and you don't use the site, I would just love to know why you don't use the site. Just because I'd love to know what is that, what's that make or break for you. I'm just
thinking of all the mean things people can say. I don't like the way you look.
I always like any type of feedback is good feedback to us, because we always use it. And we have lots of plans, so a lot of it's already on track, which is good. And pretty much, I was just going to say, if someone responds with an app, it is, I kid you not, daily.
Yeah, I will say this: 2025 is going to be an exciting year. We can't tell you everything we're going to do, but we have some appish ideas and some other things happening this year. So it's a big year.
You know what? We got to download that Rick and Morty clip. Do you want to build an app and just have that ready to go? What was his name?
Newbie or no?
Something like that.
Want to build an app?
I don't know, something like that. Anywho,
good stuff. So crazy stuff happening out here. Matt and I are both from LA area, at least grew up there. So all the fires and stuff. So if anyone who's listening is impacted by that, we're sorry. Matt has some crazy stories of some fellow collectors who lived out in the Palisades who had some, crazy collections. I think we'll probably get to it a little bit later as we start talking. But for everybody who's affected by the fires and everything out here, it's been crazy. I didn't have internet for like 2 days, even though I'm in like north of where the fires are.
But you weren't working for a full week. No, just kidding.
We stopped working.
You're like, no internet.
And Matt, you had a bunch of smoke and ash and stuff, right?
Oh, it's still raining ash. Like if you go out to the cars in the morning, it looks like fresh fallen snow. It's a lot. That sounds a little dramatic. It's not that heavy.
Think about the movie Constantine, where he's walking in hell and you see the LA all burning. Right. With the wind, my God.
It is. There's a lot of issues. Like their air quality is terrible. Luckily, we actually bought purifiers the day it started. My wife was very proactive, and so that's been like really changed. Like in here, it's like pristine air quality. But like you walk out and it's just like, you're stuffy. Like I feel stuffy now because I actually had to leave the house. But it is like, you feel terrible. Like we know multiple people. There's some good and bad. Like I know multiple people who lost their homes completely. And one, like a family friend, literally the fire dodged her house. Like blocks are all like just decimated. Her house is like still standing. Like, yeah.
Which deity does she pray to? Because
I don't know. But then again, I kind of was like telling my wife, is it a blessing or a curse to still have it standing? Because like everything for a mile is like gone, right? And then you have all these toxins in the ground and the air. It's going to be years before you could kind of like be in a good place to even be in your like. There's not going to be any power or water for months, So it's kind of like, I mean, it's of course a good thing, but I kind of feel like, and then you're like the only house that's just like ripe for looters, right? Like it's one of those things where
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird. It's like we've never had something like this out here before.
Yeah.
We have earthquakes, we have fires, but like nothing like this. This has been. It's going to be very interesting to see the rebuild. All of Malibu, PCH, the real Inn, all those like famous iconic things you see in movies, gone. So it's crazy. Anyway, we digress. We're not a fire show. We're a comic show. But to everyone who's listening, who's having that happen, and who's impacted directly, our heart, out to you guys. And this will pass. It always does. And
I mean, we had real deep conversations with our kids. Like we created to-go bags of the things that were meant the most to us, and it was really, it's interesting. It's just like a grocery shopping bag full of stuff.
Yeah. Which comic did you put in the bag, though, Matt?
I put 4. I have a Wonder Woman 77, the variant, signed by Linda Carter in a 9.8. So I'm like, I can't lose that. I have a copy of Black Boy Fly #1 in a 9.8, which is impossible to get. And then, like, I don't have anything for pre-1990, so I'm not or 1980. So I'm not like, I don't have like a first appearance of Spider-Man or anything. I'm too cheap for that. But like had like my Shira Dodson in the 9.8, things that I would be really hard to find. I just grabbed, and books that like kind of like my unsellables. Like it was only 4 books that I grabbed. So out of everything, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't grab all your comics. I mean,
no, I mean that's the thing is like you have to be mindful of. I'm not going to be able to run out of the house. Like it was weird to put yourself in a mindset, and we had to have this discussion with our kids. Like you have to be ready to like. I mean, this is a good conversation for everyone out there. Like, what would you take? You would think you would have time to grab a short box. So like literally, I put this bag together. It's up in my cabinet. It's just ready to go. And then everything else is like. Whatever, you don't have time to grab a short box or a long box. Like you have to grab like the pets and the kids and get out of there, right? You don't have time to like pull together a short box. So it's kind of like one of the things we were talking about. One of our a person I know, my wife used to work with him, and I talked to him like off and on. He is very wealthy and has a lot of money and has these crazy collectibles, like the original art from Magic cards and the original art from like Pokemon cards and like the original hand-drawn cells from the Pokemon show, from the original show from Japan, and that was obviously brought here. Really ultra rare original Pokemon cards, the first printing of Harry Potter, all that stuff is gone. Like it's just like these things that are just that should belong in a museum, like he had all these things in his collection, and they're gone. Like,
you never think that it's going to happen. I mean, if you guys have big collections, think about your insurance, think about all that stuff. I mean, like what Matt's saying, it's a one of a kind thing that we all love that's now gone. Yeah, there you go. Escape from LA. Yeah, with Kurt Russell. I think that LA turned into a prison in that movie, and there's
yes, right. Well, Escape from New York is first, right? And
yeah. He plays a guy named Snake. Snake takes no prisoners.
Those are good movies. I thought they were going to redo another one, but it is just an interesting conversation. I know there's lots of conversations about like how much this is kind of into our overall conversation, like how deep do you go into collecting and talking about trends and talking about investing in collectibles, not just comics, but how big do you go? How deep do you go? What do you consider investing? I mean, like for me, it was like, I would buy, a $10 book and maybe it's worth $100, right? I mean, that's how cheap I am. And then, at that time, and like then I compare it to like other collections where they're buying a first appearance of Spider-Man and holding onto it for 5-10 years. Like, okay, that's a different level, right? But it made me feel so panicked to have something like that in my collection that could just literally what happened would just go up in smoke.
a lot of people think about like safety deposit boxes at banks, but the banks are still burning. Like all the stuff. I mean, I don't know if they have like fire protection around the vault and stuff, but like
everything was down to the grid. Like,
yeah.
Everything was down. Like there's like you look at everything and it's just. I mean, it's and there's a lot of conversations with how it started and there's a lot of political side. But for the stories here, like people forget this is a desert. Like this is. And this type of fire activity is normal and typical for this is what used to happen on a regular basis, but now we just put houses right in its path.
The thing about LA, like you said, it's a desert. All the water is pumped in. It's not. We don't have any really like proper reservoirs and stuff to feed the entire city.
But a lot of reports was like a lot of the big some of the big fires were arson. So like that's kind of like. Because people were just like there was all these things in social media, people like running like with blowtorches trying to start fires. That's how you saw all these little fires pop up because people were trying to get. So, I mean, it was crazy. Like there was a video of someone like throwing gasoline out their car door, bucket by bucket, like trying to like.
I heard a real horrible conspiracy theory that I thought was pretty funny because it's so stupid. They're like, isn't it weird how all the people who were involved in the P. Diddy scandals, their houses are burning down? There goes the I was like, oh yeah, that's
right.
Burn them all down so that.
Right. I think one of them was Billy Crystal. It's like, come on.
Leave Crystal alone. There was also
Billy Crystal's like in bed by 8. He's not going to P. Diddy parties.
Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah, I think it was like Billy Crystal and Anna Faris and like I'm like, yeah, these folks are really scandalous folks. Adam Brody, like from the OC, yeah. Oh hey, Phil's gonna join. Look at Phil. Let's bring Phil to the stage. Hey Phil. We're just talking about everything on fire.
I saw the invitation. I'm like, nobody wants to hang out with me on a Monday night, so I thought maybe I'd just crash your guys' party. So
what's bad about you joining is your setup is so nice that it just highlights how bad our setups are.
This is the setup that broke my leg. So I mean, at the end of the day too, this is like PTSD for me every time.
It's therapy.
In my defense, it is. It's good though. It's good.
But Phil, it was worth it if it helps.
Well, I appreciate that.
There's certain purchases in my life that I buy something and I think to myself, is this the thing that's going to kill me? And I never I bought a motorcycle when I was younger and I was like, I want this, but like, is this going to kill me? Maybe right now I'm doing the thing that I'm going on that destiny path. Never in my million years would I think that these shelves would someday kill me.
Never in a million years would you think it would be a Spider-Man Lego set that would do it. So, there it is. It's that Spider-Man. Remember that Spider-Man Lego, the frame thing I've got? Up? I had to elevate it higher, and that's what did it. I was trying to put it. It was your
OCD that killed you.
That's probably not far from the truth. It has always been my OCD that's going to kill me one day, and it officially came for me. So yeah, no complaints though. It's been interesting, but I'm glad that I'm at least able to be moderately healed now. So thank goodness.
I look like a comic librarian. I kind of do. I have my college shirt because I had to go out today and actually look presentable. So yeah,
you put on pants, Matt? That's nice.
What's that? I do have a cover price shirt on underneath here. There we go. See you later.
Representing.
Yeah. So I always keep cover price close to the heart there. So.
I'm wearing track suits. That's pretty much the only thing I can wear right now. So I've just been in track suits the entire thing. I'm like the new poster child for Tracksuit Mafia.
90s rapper over here.
Yeah, I know, right? All I need is like a Kangol hat and some gold, and I'd be ready to roll.
That reminds me. I meant to watch Hawkeye over the Christmas break, and I didn't watch it.
Oh, you should have. You've seen it though. You've seen it before.
Oh, I loved it, but I haven't watched it in a year. So I was like, it's a very Christmassy type of show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the better ones too.
The Tracksuit Gang or whatever, right?
Yeah. That's how my mind went. Yeah, when I think of tracksuit, I went straight to that. So.
Well, speaking of, we should probably get on topic. Oh, before we do, so the giveaway today, Matt had an interesting idea.
It also stems from laziness and busyness.
I was going to sell it as a good idea, Matt.
Go with how you're going to do.
Matt had a brilliant idea that instead of doing the giveaway today, he's going to open it up to all the people who are watching this on the rewind and everyone who's watching now. So next week we're going to do 2 giveaways. If you want to enter in the giveaway for this week, put a comment, make a comment here or after the show's ended, and we'll go through at the beginning of next week. We'll do a drawing for that, and then we'll do another drawing at the end for our typical kind of giveaway. So 2 giveaways next week.
So the main comments in the video, not the chat, but the main comments in the video, just leave a comment so we can track it. And then, we'll give it away at the beginning of the next show. And then we'll do our normal bonus thanks for watching giveaway at the end of the show.
Yeah.
I just have I have boxes I haven't gone through. So this is like
Matt.
This is like first world problems. Now that we like get books to give away from the publishers, it's like I was like, like I gotta go through these boxes of comics.
No, it's a good problem.
Yeah. I know but it's a problem because it gets like way out of control. So anywho.
All right. So the topic today are 2025 trends, comics we might want to invest in or buy, or what do you think is going to happen?
Well, we'll do kind of our top level. For me, let's jump into it. I'm going to present my screen if it kind of gives us attitude today. Feel free to kick me off. But I already prepped it. I already closed down I already blew up the screen.
Ooh.
Did all the things that you always ask me to. So we'll get into this tomorrow, like on the top 10 show tomorrow, but this is the fresh new top 10 that refreshed this morning. It's kind of like this will also tie into this overall conversation of 2025's. It's so professional. Basically, if you look at this, it's kind of interesting. It's like it's more Mark Spears Lobo, but Marvel Rivals is like really is showing up to the table. It's really fascinating. This is a trend that never, like we talked about it on the show last week, it's never happened before where a video game would then inspire all these, like, I mean, this goes beyond just first appearances. These people are picking up the skins. Like basically these books are the skins from the game.
And a lot of people don't even know who these characters are. That's the cool. This is very much like a gateway drug to the comic book characters themselves right now, because there's people that have. I'm seeing people on Twitch like the big green, and things like that. Like that's called Hulk, they don't know the characters' names. They're like the one with the nice ass, It's just like, or it's people are calling these characters out, but then they're figuring out who they are, and then they're going after them. I think that's really cool.
It's fascinating because we saw a little bit of this happening with Fortnite, and you kind of think like, oh, that's interesting, that's cute, that like, oh, people have interest in Gwenpool, but that's it, right? Like, and then no, sure enough, like, I mean, it definitely helps that Marvel Rivals is such a big game, but if this continues and they keep releasing skins, well, like if they do a noir skin of Spider-Man, is that going to, people are like, oh, well, they've seen noir before. That's a bad example. But if it's a version of Spider-Man that they're not used to seeing, will that send them back to the well here a little bit? And this is directly a Marvel Rivals variant, so it's especially clearly tied into the game.
You got to say though that those the art direction for the entire game is so good. Like it's like each of these characters look amazing.
I mean, this goes back to Marvel, and maybe it's more been like other companies like Capcom, but you look at like the Marvel versus Capcom games, the art on that was always amazing. The character design was always amazing. They tied into fan aesthetics, and like gaming has always been doing this. Like that's the interesting. This is not new, but the response to it is new. And that I don't know what to do with that. Like, I don't even know how to speculate, because if another Marvel game comes out, would it do the same? I don't know. I honestly,
I think you got to look at the downloads now. Like right now, they're expanding. Right now, they've just announced. What was it? Did you see the new announcement? I've got it tagged real quick. I'll pull you up the characters, but MODOK's one of them. Crap, give me 1 second here, I'm pulling them up, but there's a whole bevy of new cast characters that are joining. So now they've got Jia Jing, they've got Angelina, they've got Colossus, MODOK, Deadpool, Emma Frost, Paste Pot Pete, There's one. That's going to be an
wow.
odd one, just because of the character names.
There goes that
Captain
Strange
Marvel.
Tales from 1960.
Yeah, Captain Marvel and Hit Monkey and Professor X and Phoenix.
Yeah, we've already started to see some. We've already started to see some Hit Monkey trends.
Well, Hit Monkey had the show too on Hulu, which was pretty good.
Yeah,
but it's like different audiences. Like even though they've had content, like Penny Parker was trending, Spider SPDR.
Yeah,
like she was in the Spider-Verse, but it didn't. It had a short blip, but now it's trending as much as it did with the film. It's interesting.
I'm excited about it. I mean, these are the kinds of things you always kind of hoped for when it comes to eventually, in my opinion, with video games, because there's meant to be kind of adventures like in movies that you can kind of do yourself, and seeing these ones come out and these new release characters. I mean, the Fantastic Four just got added recently, and that's been a big, huge paradigm shift. Invisible Woman's, showing up out of nowhere, pushing people off of sides, and Reed Richards is actually doing well.
that ties into this. So she had a skin, a Malice skin.
Yeah, Malice.
And that her first appearance of Malice is trending. Granted, it's like $16 book, but 9.8s are moving for 135, which is still not the all-time high. But I mean, if some excited little teenage boys are excited by Malice, wait till they see Goblin Queen come out. I mean, it really is a really crazy trend, and the more that they play with these skins, I think they could get into some. There's Invisible Woman.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: so it's a 6-on-6 kind of play.
There's the little dude.
Who would you guys put on your team? 6-on-6.
I wish I could play. I don't have a place. I have a Switch, so I need to add this. I don't know. I haven't played enough. Like I'm a strategic player, so I would really like to diversify. It doesn't go with favorites. It goes with strengths, right? Yeah, and how they play together.
Well, there was I was watching some stuff on it. It was like you can have your healers, you can have your tanks, you can have your and some of the synergies where they actually enhance each other's power set and stuff.
That's one take on Neymar. I kind of I don't hate it.
I mean, right now the new meta is Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic. Right now, it's getting that's kind of getting
that's cool,
a pretty OP kit as far as things go. But as far as other characters go, I've only really played with Iron Fist and with Jeff the Shark, just because I'm a Jeff the Shark fan and I don't mind being a healer. I've not really gotten to mess around with it a lot, and I'm terrible at these kinds of games. So I hate embarrassing myself in front of tons of people. So I just keep on going into the practice area.
They made Thor look like old. They made like Odin Thor.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm willing to admit that. And thank God they have Squirrel Girl. She's pretty thick. She's got her fans, bro.
It looks like Wolverine likes his shoulder pads. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a weird take. Everything else was good, but that's not
accurate though. Now, at least he's height accurate.
Yeah, he's just small and broad.
Like, how does he stand with those arms, man?
Well, he doesn't. That's probably because Hulk's just been throwing him so many times. He's just getting shorter and shorter. Fastball special. Now I'm wondering if he's gonna be able to do that with Colossus. Now that Colossus is joining the cast, will Wolverine and Colossus have a little bit more of that fastball special aspect? Maybe a little bit more of a bonus going than what he has with Hulk. These kinds of combinations. I'm wondering what Professor X is really going to be doing. I
can't answer the door right now.
It's going to be interesting. So yeah, I can't tell for sure.
That sounds
I don't know. It's really fascinating to me to see clearly I'm surprised Cloak and Dagger haven't taken off, but maybe they're not
well, she's a pretty good healer. A lot of people use her, but not a lot of people want to be the healer at the same time too, because the healer is always getting dragged because they can't be everywhere on the screen at once. So,
sure.
Everybody's like, "Where's the healer?" Like, well, you're on the other side of this. You're on the other side of the map. I can't help you.
I mean, so as we go basically as we pull it back a little bit, I mean, you look at the trends. We have just a quick scan here. 4 direct books are on the top 20 directly related to Marvel Rivals. And then you have, we've talked about this on our year-end report. The only content books on this whole thing is just Lobo. Maybe Red Hold. Oh, then we also have Crypto. Okay, so there's 5 related. Okay, 5 related content books.
Well, even Spawn though is content, right? Oh, well, no, it's not, because it's
Spawn's like its own little thing. So
yeah.
what's moving this book is because Spawn has really been where everyone else is spitting out variant after variant after variant. They do a cover, a B cover, and then sometimes a C cover. But then they throw out these 1 in 50s or higher, and no store is ordering 50 copies of Spawn, despite how popular it is in the aftermarket. Spawn doesn't have like that high of readership to like qualify, get 50 books on your local comic shop. But so even though I think this was the return of McFarlane, this issue was the return of McFarlane. So that's probably why he got that incentive, despite this not being a McFarlane cover. But it's just really interesting that whenever you see an incentive variant for Spawn, anytime you see a comic convention exclusive, they're the hottest things always, and they maintain their value. Almost all of them, even the one that was the gaming one that was like a convention book. I forget what convention it was, but it was like stopped. It wasn't released because of COVID. And then copies leaked out, and they're selling for thousands of dollars. Then one dude turned out he had like all of them. It was
I know what you're talking about.
Pumping them out at for like
it was
$500
a Spawn. They were Spawns too, weren't they?
What's that?
Yeah, Spawn,
like Glow in the Dark Spawn or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot what issue. I would have to look back and blink if someone knows. Oh, the Mortal Kombat one.
It was a thing, dude. I remember it. It was a thing.
But even then, it was still like intended to be a $40-$30 variant that was still selling for $500, $600 consistently. Like it wouldn't, even though it wasn't like $2,000, it was still a Spawn 306. Thank you. I could probably even go to it. We could even if I could spell. I have to do. I can't see. I shouldn't do.
I don't think you need to even spell it right anymore. We fixed the search. It's kind of it'll.
Oh, I guess I should have messed it up then.
Yeah.
Yes, the final the NetherRealm. I mean, I think it's still a $300 book, despite having like how many 256. And I think there was only a print run of like 500.
Highest at 5,000. Holy.
Well, that's when everyone was like, "Oh, this book doesn't exist," And then there was only like one hitting the market every like year. So they're selling for thousands, and then when they revealed they had a bunch, then they dropped from $500 to now $300. But still, I meant like you go back, this is still a convention book that was like limited to like 500. So they estimate it could be 1,000. Who knows what the
yeah.
But it's still selling for $300, which is like
do you recommend then for 2025 Spawn being one of the books people pick up?
Well, it's clearly what people do already. That's why we discovered which was a revealed to us during our show last week, was that the fight didn't really happen at New York Comic Con. Like there was only stories and this big old fight that happened, and then I knew that to be the truth, and then they're like, oh no, that fight never happened. By people who were in line watching the show.
It wasn't really a fight. It was more like just adjusting and some people getting a little salty.
So this is how misinformation spreads, and even in our own little comic book world, it was like we were there, and it was
there, and people trusted. People were like, "Oh, there's a fight." We're like, "Oh my god,
again?"
Yeah, it was like, "Oh, oh man, welcome to the new world." So that's kind of some of it's just interesting. Mark Spears is still hotter than ever. I mean, there's 2 books that they just released, 2 store incentives. Of course, Bird City's here. KRS is here. I really appreciate the KRS. Not that I love the Bird City one too, but I just love a good Jaws cover. And this was just too good. Yeah. What I'm impressed with is not just the shark, but I'm always impressed with how people can draw water. It's got to be a very difficult thing to make it look as good as that. So I have like
John Gallagher, nice house on the lake. Remember that ratio?
Yeah,
I like the pool water, just the pattern.
Yeah, that was Wanted Comics.
Yeah, it looked great. That's what I always attracted me to the cover of that. That was just the way the water looked on that. It was just like, wow, if you can nail the water, that's a perfect book.
I always call this like the house on the left or something like that.
Nice house on the left, yeah.
There's some movie that has
you can turn on the variants on that page.
I know, I didn't do it. It's the old habits die hard.
Okay.
Right there, it is, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beaut.
Whoa, that's a bad. We got to fix that.
Great. Maybe look for the Virgin one.
That's a drawing. I always thought that was a photo.
No.
Oh man, we got to put some better images.
John Gallagher.
Oh no way. Okay.
Yeah, we have some low res images on here, so we'll have to fix that. Maybe this is okay.
But yeah, that was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, so you see all the skulls in there, and
the water just look with it. But I mean, the skulls look like the pattern of the water. That's why I loved it. It was just so blended in perfectly with the horror of the vacation feel. So that's why I loved it. Anyways, that's if you guys haven't seen that cover, go check it out. It's a really dope cover, and John Gallagher, great artist, great dude.
And JD was saying that's a drawing. So actually,
John does a lot of computer. John does a lot of computer graphic work. He worked on the Terminator movies. He worked on, he worked on the Flash. He worked on all those different things. Doing lots of graphics and special effects and things of that nature. And he does a lot of computer generated graphic work for his covers as well too. But I know he does a lot of drawing as well, but I don't know if that was one of them. No.
I mean, it's interesting because to speak to that, so Mark Spears is actually adding his process. So this is actually how he does it. So as a digital artist, so Mark doesn't have traditional sketches to sell because he works 100% digitally, or so it says here. So he starts with an online sketch, and then he takes that sketch and he puts a quick color layout behind it. Then he does custom 3D modeling that he builds all the parameters and sets it all up. Then he takes that model and then he starts building it from there, adding all the different layers and sketches, and then keeps adding. He does the painted layer, and then he does a finished layer. So it's like, this isn't AI. This is just a very good technical digital artist,
Yeah. And he existed before the whole AI thing too, didn't he? I mean, he's been doing this for a while. Yeah. Just recently discovered.
His first art. I wish I had it up, but it was in this book from the 2010. It's Giant Ultiman, the annual. And if you look inside of it, the style is supposed to be kind of a pulp golden age art style. And he nailed it. It looks like that style. So he's a really good traditional artist. It's just, it's probably something you can easily do just sitting, on your, I don't know what his workplace is like, but I gotta imagine you can take it anywhere, right, and work.
Yeah, I mean, he feels a lot to me like this year's Peach Momoko, right? All of a sudden just been doing stuff, been kind of, and all of a sudden just starts killing it, and everybody's after every single cover they do for a while. I remember when I was selling comics for different stores and stuff online on Instagram during COVID, it was 100% everybody like, what's the Peach covers this week? What's the Peach covers this week? It feels like that with Spears. Like, what's the Spears covers this week? And if so, we want them all. That and Scotty Young, right? It's that cult level of following, of buying the
absolutely. And JD, he uses no AI. So it's literally sketching, coloring, modeling, and then rendering and painting. So there's no AI integration. Other artists I know that works like this is Will Jack. He works in a very similar style. I think Art Germ, he doesn't do 3D modeling, but he does. This is what Art Germ kind of does, the same process without the modeling. So it is interesting. I'm glad that he shared this because it's really, really helpful to get a bigger appreciation of their work. And you kind of think like if it's not drawn, it doesn't count, right? Like there's this like because you want to buy the original art. But it's just nice that he can share that and it kind of proves itself.
Can he NFT his original digital thing and then it'll be original art?
I'm sure there's some type of way to do that, but I don't think he has. But everyone says like just draw it first on a piece of paper and scan it in so you can sell that piece of paper, you know.
I mean, even that original sketch, the first sketch you could do on paper.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people do now is they'll do the rough sketch and they'll sell the rough sketch and then they move.
Right.
I know Lobos does that. He learned his lesson because he makes 10 grand per cover that he does. We're just selling the original art. So it's like there's a lot of money in it.
What if he sells his computer that he made it on?
Right.
So,
right.
This is the Apple Pencil I use.
This,
okay?
Right.
This is the write-it slab on top. What do you guys think? I mean, in terms of the topic that we're talking about tonight, like, do you think cover speculation is important, or do you think blue chip stuff is important?
It's kind of, you know, what I want to kind of step back and also present another thing before we answer that is we also have like Superman comes out in July, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what's that?
The Gunverse is coming.
Right, the Gunverse is coming. And that film is the make it or break it. If people absolutely love it, we're going to be riding high on DC news for a while. And then if we don't, it might get a little iffy. They might have to like shift plans. There might be delays. Maybe not. I don't know what
Warner Brothers going to be doing some selling if they don't. Let's just be
right. Yeah. Well, they have the Harry Potter universe coming back.
Yeah, but they'll still sell DC, right? It's just like if they can't still make money after doing this whole thing with James Gunn,
right.
They're just going to cut bait. You know, it's just.
I think they're going to do it. I think it's going to work. James Gunn.
So. I like James Gunn.
Although I will say, like, watching Creature Commando and everything, it's like the formulas. I hope he breaks away from the Suicide Squad formula where that and the Guardians of the Galaxy formula where it's like the ragtag team that comes together and they're funny, which is fun, but it's kind of the same thing over and over again so far.
Scooby-Doo too.
Right.
Scooby-Doo, Monsters Unleashed.
but Superman's going to be a standalone kind of. I mean, there's going to be a supporting cast and stuff, but he's his own character. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
So what I'm trying to get to with that is that, you know, we're plus I would assume that we're getting close to a new officially announced lineup of Marvel stuff probably in the summer. Probably D23 I would assume would be a new launch of their other slate. Here's our future plans post how everything fell apart with King, right, and everything around it, and bringing back Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and we're all still waiting for the X-Men. We just want X-Men news, and the Fantastic Four is in production now. Basically, I feel like this year, you know, everyone's been talking about how the market's been down, and my opinion was that it's because we've had 3 years of a content lull or bad content that people have just hasn't been moving books. I feel like this year is going to be a big return to speculation again. But that's a one little bullet point. So like just go to talk about some of the trends and we can discuss it. But like
short-term speculation,
the video game speculation. How long does this go for? Is this a new thing? How long will Marvel Rivals will Marvel Rivals have the same longevity that Fortnite has had? Can it go on for so long? Will this continue to move comic books? Content, story-driven stuff like Absolute and Ultimate. Are we going to still see the same trends when we see Absolute Flash, when we see Absolute Lobo, or whatever characters they announce? Like, are all these multiple trends going to come together and just create this huge tsunami, or is one or two things going to slip off? But so that's one thing I wanted to bring up before we try to answer that question. But I would love to hear what you guys think.
I mean, to me, in my mind, I do feel like video games are going to cause more and more influence. I think Rivals is not a flash in the pan. I think it's a coming tell of where entertainment is, where it's going. Sorry, I'm icing my leg, so I'm like in a weird position in my camera. But,
is that a euphemism?
Right? It's like
Right.
my leg propped up on my desk on this side here and putting a big thing of ice. It's to me, in my mind, entertainment is always going to be kind of moving towards that more interactive part and point. People are enjoying movies, but not as many people go to see the movies. And if they're seeing the movies, they're seeing sequels and Marvel movies and DC movies. So, I mean, yeah, it's good, but they're still not going like they used to. They're not taking all of their family and friends and best friends and introducing new people to it like they are right now with video games. Kids are picking this up and being introduced to characters that they're not getting. I do feel like James Gunn is going to bring some good breath of fresh air, and he's going to give DC a boost. I don't know how long it'll go. The best thing Marvel could do is just finish Secret Wars, get the fuck out, and reboot. But that's just beating a dead horse. But I do feel like video games are going to be more influential. I think we're going to see more stuff with Rivals through the year. And I mean, let's be honest, Marvel has, unlike Overwatch, unlike Fortnite, things of that nature, Marvel has over 80,000 characters that they can choose from. They're putting in Paste dude, right? I can't even remember his freaking name. I told you a second ago. I mean, we're going to be putting in moronic characters that people are going to be like, but maybe the meta works, right? And maybe all of a sudden they can get 5 or 6 of their other friends to come in and tinker with different characters. And to do that, they're probably going to, have to research a little bit some of these characters and who they're supposed to work with because Marvel wrote them. I think that's going to begin to cause more influence in comics than even James. And I feel like that's something DC might even want to get on eventually here, is what's going to be their answer to Arrivals.
Yeah.
Just my
Can you imagine if they added slapstick and then not just Speedball, but the Penance version of Speedball?
It would be cool if DC came out with it and then they did a big crossover between the two worlds.
Marvel versus DC Rivals.
But my problem with the video game, I think it's awesome because I think it is, like DeVoe, you were saying, like it's going to introduce so many new people to the characters and stuff, but it doesn't. A movie gives you the backstory. The movie makes you want to be invested in the narrative. Whereas I think the video game is just more of like power set and stuff like that. So I'd be curious to see if it actually translates into like comic book fans. It's definitely a good start, for Ford, but I just don't know. It feels like kind of, disposable in terms of like the character, because there's so many characters to choose from. I hope not, but I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it is a big question because we've been seeing some trends move for like Fortnite was definitely launching some stuff off. I'm trying to get to if I could find something I wanted to show here without searching. So I think this was it. Maybe it's this one. I think the first Fortnite comic was 0 Point. I believe it was 0 Point because I remember it was released with like a Catwoman skin.
Free skins. You would get free skins.
Yeah.
People were buying. Like, I mean, I went in.
So that's a good carryover for video game to comic books, right there. Like that'd be a perfect way to get people into comics. They should totally do that again.
So this is like a $600 comic still. I remember this was at my shop for $50, and it was like, or $75, and I was like, nah. And now it's a $600 book. There is something to it, and again, we forget about the fact that there's kids now playing this, and in 20 years they're going to be like, oh, remember Marvel Rivals? I love Marvel Rivals.
Just like we are with Capcom Street Fight with Street Fighter, Capcom versus Marvel.
So these might be good. These are the first official rival covers. So there's some. I think there's actually something to these. Like it kind of makes me now. I'm like, dang it, I should have probably picked some up. But there's something to these now. I'm not a big design. There were some other rival covers that came out like I think a couple weeks ago. The Peach Momoko Galactica cover with Jeff.
What's the story for these? Is it part of?
Well, this is the new release from Magic. This is a Rivals cover.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So these are all the other covers for Magic's solo series.
Gotcha.
I really like, this is actually my favorite, the Thiago da Silva. I'm a big fan of Thiago, and I wish I would have grabbed this. I just love this cover.
That is cool.
I'll be interested to see though too if like they start to take the data from these games to see like which characters people like playing the most.
Well, that's the thing. Like they could just
maybe we should be making more things on these characters, right?
Yeah,
putting more things together. It begins to influence comics, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because they're a nice companion piece, and I wish I could share it. I'll see if I can find it off the grid while I'm not sharing my screen here. But there was a really interesting a video that someone shared with me from YouTube. It was all about who had the biggest market share in the comic book space, and they're like, it's not Marvel and DC. And you know, basically the spoiler is, you should watch the whole video, but it's really interesting. Scholastic is like dominates the
that's interesting
comic market by like, it have 85% ownership of retail sales.
Can you think of a single Scholastic?
Those damn book fairs, man.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they said. It's those Scholastic fairs. They go from school to school, and they're there. They're these books. You're talking about like all those graphic novels, like Smile and like basically all those kid-centric graphic novels. If anyone has, if anyone has a teen, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting. I'll see if I can find it and share it, because it was such an interesting thing about how. Oh yeah, it's titled "What No One Wants to Admit About the Comic Book Sales," and it went into how Bone created this market, how Jeff Smith was like basically created this market that we're kind of like living in, and no one talks about it. And it is a really interesting. And Marvel and DC is just not even playing in it in the space. Here's the link for those that want to watch it. It's definitely worth a watch. Gives you a really fresh understanding of how much the publishers in the comic book space is missing out. It really is a.
But to Phil's point, like I do know that the publishers are always keen on trying to connect the dots between a good artist, a good writer, pairing them together, branching out, stuff like that. I don't know how much communication happens across like properties, like, you know, video games versus comics versus TV versus whatever, but there should be.
Well, you know? I mean, like, how much of a breakdown is there between content, comics, and video games? Because if you look at them from the Disney, if you look at Marvel from the Disney perspective, those divisions do not talk to each other. Right. They are like stay out of our way and we'll stay out of your way, when they should be working together. And like, for example, what Phil was saying is like, oh, people love like they love Jeff. We need to do more Jeff. They love whatever, you know, Spider, SPDR. There's no SPDR comics out there.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine like the awesome marketing machine that would create if you started something in Scholastic, all of a sudden you got people interested in it, you did a couple of trade paperbacks, you did a couple, you know, whatever, a TV show comes out with it, or a comic book line goes out with it, then Magic, and you just tie it all together so it all continues to build and build and build, and it just creates this whole nice little, you know, ribbon bow on the top kind of ecosystem for that character.
But Scholastic also licenses things from Marvel and DC though too, because I remember my daughter buying Marvel books. There, like there was Marvel Golden books. Like there's an Iron Man Golden book, you know, and things of that nature. So
that's Disney, because Disney is very good at licensing things out.
Yes. Well, I mean, DC, like the Supergirls. I think even somebody brought it up in here. The DC superhero girls sold huge Scholastic book sales too. So I mean, there's still some general licensing that they're doing to get in there.
But I mean, we already see it. Like they're not like for some of these are older skins. They've been around since the game release, but they got to this quickly. And they're like, oh, you like the Marvel Rivals? Here you go. Now it's a $34 variant. This is an open order variant. Like that's the thing. You could have ordered a ton of these. $30. Okay, $10. But you know, Spider-Man was probably Oh, the fair market value.
Spider-Man's not the best character in the game either, though. He's
a lot of people said he's not great. Yeah.
No, but the cool thing is too, we can always get like, what's a retooling of the character, and metas can change, and so I mean he may eventually get his due, but having a comic of it when time comes wouldn't be a bad thing to thing to move.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeff plushies are huge, man. Just go to just check out Epic Voice Guy on Instagram. He's selling them. He's the voice of Jeff the Shark in Rivals.
Huge meaning like big in the world, or huge in like real life, like the plushie itself is huge?
He does, well, I mean, like he's the voice actor for Megatron, and it's like some of the cartoons. He's done Optimus as well. He's a voice actor, Epic Voice Guy. And he did he's Jeff the Shark, and he has a what's it called? A plushie that he made that a friend of his made for a convention, that is a puppet with his tongue sticking out, and it's got little voice activated lines from him in it.
Oh,
and
cool.
now they're mass producing them. So
cool.
You see it down there with the tongue sticking out in the middle a little bit. Oh, it's on a different screen. There he is. That's the exact thing. That's the exact thing right there. They're making for people, and you can do it.
Like
it's a puppet. It's a hand puppet. Plushie. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so he does it and he does Deadpool, and at any rate, Epic Voice Guy. He's great. Highly recommend. Very entertaining dude, and he's always doing the voices on his different.
I mean, but this is the thing. These other people are making money because Disney and Marvel are just not jumping on this train enough. Fast enough. They were smart enough to re-release the 4th print of Jeff the Shark #1. So that was on FOC for I think it was this past weekend. Actually, it was you could have got it today. Which is interesting because I think it'll be. I wonder if it'd be under ordered or if it'll have a big print run. I have a feeling that shops are still not picking it up. What an interesting FOC. Was it this week?
Was it a Scotty Young? Yeah.
So it's interesting. So they did the Jeff. It's the Jeff verse, which is a reprinting of the digital comic books, and then the main series. It's Jeff. That was the new series. So a 4th print and a 2nd print of that. So that's really interesting.
I have to get my hands on the 4th and the 2nd because I've got the other regular series, but I don't have any of the other 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or that 4th print.
So and it's funny. Derek says, "Wait till Jazzware gets a license." So the guy that I was talking to at the beginning of the show, he's he was I think the CCO of Jazzwares. His name is Jeremy Padower. He was the one whose house burned down. But yeah, he's genius. They got the Pokemon license and all that, and and then the plushies. What are they called? Squishmallows or
Squishmallows kind of thing. Yeah.
But yeah. So obviously, if you look at this, someone's paying attention to put this out, to think enough to re-put this out. They were obviously paying attention to the trends, which is really curious because Marvel is not known for paying attention to the aftermarket, like at all. So the fact that someone there is that they put this out tells me that may be changing. Which again, now here's a new trend. Will this change how Marvel and maybe Warner Brothers or DC, how they approach characters and putting out comic books? Do we need 13 Spider-Man series? Do we need like a Jeff series and a Squirrel Girl series again? Maybe now it's a chance to take a new shot at those.
I think Disney kind of learned some lessons though too with Grogu, right? The child in the Mandalorian. He wasn't supposed to be a big deal. He wasn't supposed to be a big deal. He was just supposed to be the little side plot character.
How could he not be a big deal?
Well, he really wasn't supposed to be. And then all of a sudden Disney didn't figure it out until the entire season was. They're ready to launch the 2nd season, and they start getting on merch then, right? It was but by that time the world of Etsy became super entrenched in building the child, these little stuffed plushy characters, and all that stuff floating around. I've got one over there, but I'm not going to go, hop on my walker and get over and grab it. But at any rate, but those things just exploded with people getting them. Then Disney finally gets on the ball. I feel like they've learned some lessons with that, because they lost a lot of money waiting that long to start producing things for
for
Star
sure
Wars sides of things. I think that this Marvel's a good case in point, and I hope that's what you're seeing in there, especially with the Jeff side of things, because I do feel like Jeff could be Marvel's version of Grogu, in not necessarily live action, but at least in entertainment and getting people over and involved. Because a lot of people that don't recognize Star Wars, they still recognize Baby Yoda or the Child, or they've all got different names, and you can tell where they cashed out on watching Star Wars. They just saw that one thing, like, oh, it's the Child, it's the Baby Yoda. That means they've never watched it for the third, fourth seasons, anything else. They only watched it because there was this cute little Baby Yoda looking thing, and it, exposed them enough. But that's still the audience that Disney wants. It's still the casual fan.
Right.
This is the first cover appearance of Jeff the Land Shark. I don't love it. That's not my Jeff.
But
not for. I still like him in West Coast. The West Coast Avengers first appearance more. Not even on the cover. Just
he's not even on the cover.
No, he's just in there. There's a little side note, but
his best cover is the Coppertone one, the Deadpool.
Oh yeah, the Christopher, John Tyler Christopher cover. I got one of those. That's my favorite.
Isn't there a Jaws, Jeff, where he's doing the same thing where he's biting someone from below, someone swimming?
Well, that's Jeff.
That's one of the alternate covers for Jeff one.
Yeah, that's Jeff one, which is probably my favorite.
With the rubber ducky on top.
Yeah.
I always meant to grab one of those, and I just never did.
I got one. Oh, it's on the bottom. Yeah, there it is. He's falling in. Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that's Namor. I didn't
even realize that either. I never did either.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
So good.
Jeff's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, this is just to go I was half serious. What if they do introduce slapstick, like these characters that have been unmovable for like barely stuck in the 90s. I mean, how much fun would it be to see the Spot return as some type of like anti-hero, in some way?
Hey dude, Kite Man's been pretty entertaining on Harley Quinn. I never really knew a damn thing about him, just that he existed in the Batman universe of things. And then all of a sudden, it's the hell yeah, it's Kite Man. It's hell yeah. But all things considered, I think they could. I think Marvel has the opportunity here, and I think they have it with video games right now. Specifically, they can make little side adventures. They could make little goofy taglines to throw in with these characters that would get them involved, or they could leave little clues, like you want to be able to do these kinds of moves, look for comic book XYZ and then cover this Easter egg, and you put in a code from this comic book, and all of a sudden it's going to unlock this skin or this thing.
Oh my god, genius.
It could do so many different things.
Rudy has a really good point. Disney wants that money, especially after all their flops. Their theatrical films are just not hitting at all. Like they are a far cry. Their animation, like I know a lot of people. Moana was very successful. Moana 2, but I know a lot of people are like, it was designed to be a straight to home video, and then they kind of like decided to put it out for theatrical. But a lot of people are like, didn't love it. And so it kind of goes to there's a lot of potential with really getting their everything together, all their getting all their what's the word,
their Jeffs in a row.
Getting some cohesion. I mean, the fact that Marvel, I'm sure they're shocked that Marvel Rivals was such a huge hit.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's what made the MCU amazing, was the cohesion across the stories and everything. It was the first time you actually had like a ongoing saga that you could go for 10 years. 10 years. You know what I mean? Whereas like before, it was like a one-off Spider-Man, that didn't interact with anybody else in any other universe or whatever. And it's just that. And there was just that focus. So yeah, I think cohesion, of course, is huge. But I know we're coming up to
we're pretty much at time. I mean, so basically, all in all, I do think. I mean, honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen with the gaming thing. Will this tape die off? But but Phil does feel that it's going to last for quite a while, or at least for throughout the year.
I think it's going to be a sign of things to come. I think it's going to be a place where we're going to see more consistent, at least, speculation than even what we might have with movies, because movies can be hit or miss, but video games are something a lot of people can make for themselves, right? The adventure is yours in a video game. And I think that's the different side of movies right now.
I mean, when you look again, if you look at the mover list, and it's just like the first 2 lines, it's packed with Marvel Rivals related stuff, stuff that people are reading, content. It's like everything. Let's see if there's any cover buys here. I mean, so there are some. Here's a cover buy, like, right? This is a cover buy. All the Mark Spears stuff is cover buy. Here's some content. This was one I was surprised it didn't make the top 10 list. But this is the first appearance of Nosferatu.
Huh.
And if you, I don't know. I mean, is it okay to spoil stuff for?
Oh yeah, she's in Creature Commandos.
Yeah,
right?
she's in the next series for Creature Commandos. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's been out for a week. There's no spoilers at this point.
And she's in
if
the
you're a comic book fan, you haven't been watching the show, and it's been over for a week. That makes me nuts. No spoilers. I'm like, motherfucker, it's been out for a week.
Well, she's like in one of the first episodes when they're in the jail walking around. She gets in a fight with somebody. Yeah. So
her first appearance is on this totally 90s cover. This is like 90s. There's no 90s cover, more 90s cover than this. It's got the gold foil, the over text, the floating
shooting a gun.
That's right. Just the over accessorized.
Not just the regular gun, a 2-barrel gun, like one of those weird, like Star Lord kind of guns.
He looks like he looks like the original not the original, but one of the Moon Boys. Like he looks like he's from, like, he should be riding a dinosaur right now too, and all the torn clothes. And yeah,
what I just love is that he must have, like, obviously his clothes got ripped up, but he was like, now I'm keeping the gloves and I need to, like, let people know that I'm Superboy. And he made himself his own little, like,
amulet
Superman necklace. And he was like, with the gloves and the necklace, he's like,
what year is that? What year is that?
1998.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would be earlier, so we could have had, like, it's like a Flavor Flav clock or something like that. Well, actually, you know what? Flavor Flav was big back then. I mean, it could have been.
It was. It could have been.
Flavor, was it Flavor of Love? All that crap that was coming out in the 98, 99 time frame. You never know.
I wonder what the next issue looks like right after this. Let's see. Yeah, he's still going, still rocking it, still has the gloves on. Good for him.
And boots. And full boots. His boots are fine. Well, like, man, his shorts.
He's got to run amongst all those bones.
What's with the jean shorts though that are actually, like, going past his navel? I thought that was more of like a mom thing.
He's back to his. He gets his clothes back in this one, and there he goes.
Thank God.
What's with the long hair?
So the leather jacket didn't make it right through everything he was wearing.
It's like
the blue jeans.
But now he has a story for those gloves. He's like, these gloves have been with me through everything. Anyway, that's fun. That's fun.
All right. Well,
anyways, that's stuff that's moving. Like that. See, that's content related stuff, and then you got reading stuff. You got collector. You got these classic cover keys that people are just constantly buying up. That was a takeaway from our year-end review, is that this was like one of the most purchased comics in the aftermarket. This $10, $15 Todd McFarlane silver book, which is printed literally in the millions. But again, the nostalgia, like, I want that cover. You want that cover. You want it for your wall. It's iconic Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, just those 2 lines. I mean, you got Star Wars, you got Secret Wars, you got Spawn 1, at the death of Superman. I mean, like, all of these are
copies of this.
Well, what was it? Wasn't it last year? Wasn't that the 25th anniversary or the 30th?
Right.
Wasn't it it was the 30th anniversary.
Right.
So,
they had all these.
Like, you know, this is stuff where it's people our age, guys. Like, you know, all of a sudden we've got a little bit of extra spare money. Like, what are we going to do with it? We're going to spend it on ourselves. Or we're going to buy. So it makes us feel good. Remember those.
I did really like this one. I did really like this 30th. I need to go back and pick this up.
That was a cool one.
That was a good one.
I was always fascinated by these purple lumps. Like when I was reading as a kid, I didn't understand what was going on with this, and now I understand it as bruising. But it was all goodness.
Yeah, he's all swollen and bruised from Doomsday.
Yeah, but it was like I didn't get it. I didn't make the connect. Like it was like I was like, what's going on? Is it just he's Kryptonian? And
it's weird that he has a bruise on the back of his jaw there, though. That's kind of strange. He has one on his cheek.
He was getting punched with those like Doomsday bone claws.
Claws. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Anyhow. Fun times. So no giveaway this time. What do you think? They're super zits. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they were just Kryptonian whelps. I don't know. Anywho, we're gonna give away 2 books next week. So come back for that. Make sure you comment. So don't leave. Make sure you leave a comment. It could be whatever your favorite part of the show was, or what Marvel Rival skin is your favorite skin, or you could just be like, comment if you're really
make your comment, and you're still entered.
No, so, I don't want it all comments. Now it's just gonna
jerks.
So now we started a thing. Great. Gonna do a thing. And people are like, we do it.
Big thanks to Phil for joining on the show.
Thanks for joining, Phil. Yeah,
thank you.
Really, I mean, it's a really interesting chat. We started with fires and protecting your investment, and is it, are you content buying? Are you feel safe enough to buy expensive books, knowing that they could disappear the next day? And then then all this stuff that's trending in the comic book space. I mean, it's interesting, and we didn't even touch into how like this is all affordable stuff. Like this is all entry level stuff. Everything that's moving is cheap. Like there's no. I mean, granted, we just saw in the shaker list. Sorry, I'm like extending this list. There was at the same time all these mega keys, all these huge books trending this week. Like every crazy rare book that matters other than for Superman and Batman, we're all moving this week. All these crazy high sales across the board too. So it was
what's that Spider-Man up to? That variant at the top, the Delata. Is it Delata, right?
14 grand. 496.
He says.
I mean, he's the king. He's the king of variants.
Yeah, indeed.
Not one little key information about it, but it's just. I mean, this is an interesting book. It's just the market decided it's worth that much, and there are plenty of other rare books and better covers at that are better. That, in my opinion, are better than this cover. That are just as rare, but some, it came at a time, 2011, when people weren't ordering books, and 1 in 100 variant, just a scarce, rare.
And everybody discovered Delado. And that's kind of like this with Mark Spears. That's my prediction for this year. It's gonna be Mark Spears' year. This could be everybody's gonna be chasing his covers, and he'll move in there with the Scotty Youngs, the Delados, the others that are really great in this space that people have their religious following, their cults of, I'm
so dig through this stuff. Just check it, if you guys have time, check out the shaker list and just see what was trending this week. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy.
The shaker lists are now like 12 to something. Like we have hundreds of comics.
Today is 17 pages. It used to be 1 page.
Yeah, we first started 1 page.
That was when I first started with you guys, was reporting the shakers. That was all I did, was just the daily shaker list, and it was only 1 page of books.
1 page.
Just randomly and now you can go a couple here and there, and that was it.
Yeah. And now you can filter it out and take a look at here's just the all-time highs, and now you can look at all that goodness. And I've never seen that Archie. It's kind of interesting. There's fun stuff. This was a fun Monday to see. It literally is just everything. The kitchen sink. Every collector is literally doing something right now.
Service something in that list.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Everyone is purchasing something. So it's I kind of feel a little happy. I'm like, I think that if Marvel does it right, Marvel Rivals could bring in a whole new crop of new readers and fans into this space, which is what it needs.
If they're
Anyhow,
responsible with it, I think you're absolutely right, Matt. I think they,
yeah. I am frozen.
Well, it's just a little lag.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, again.
I think that's probably a good cue before Matt's internet goes out. Phil, again, thank you so much for jumping on. Everyone, thanks for joining the comments and doing everything. 2 giveaways next week. If you're in LA, hopefully your house is okay. And Matt's frozen, so we can end it with him being frozen. Keep on collecting, and cool. Thanks for everything, guys.
See you guys.
Mom, I said hi, everybody.
Bye, everybody.